Hello everyone. Welcome to the World Tapping Circle. I'm your host, Sophia, and I am so happy that you are here, processing life, getting yourself clean, clear, connected, keeping yourself stable and sane. This is going to be a really powerful circle. It's a big topic, and I think it's something that everyone here can relate to. Today's theme is processing pressure. So wherever you're feeling pressure in your life, pressure to be a certain way, to do a certain thing, to stop doing a certain thing, to start doing a certain thing, this is a tap that you'll be able to use again and again. And as usual, I will remind you that all of these taps are in the World Tapping Circle video library to be found at worldtappingcircle.com, members area, upper right-hand corner of the website. And you'll see in the archives all of the taps we've ever done. So literally you can go in there and play Tap Oracle and just kind of scroll, stop, and be like, this is the one. And you'll be amazed at how accurate and useful it is and how real it is for that moment. Because there's a part of you and a part of me and a part of what creates this that's holding space for us all and guiding us in the right way. So thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for showing up for the people that love you. Thank you for showing up for this world. You know, I started this circle because long before we were at the state we were in the world, I very clearly realized that we were going to need to rebuild our civilization. And the only people that can actually do that have to be coming from a stable place. So the motto is happy, healthy people create a happy, healthy world. So our role in the World Tapping Circle is to hold space for love so that that love light can shine through you into the way that you're meant to be, into the beautiful, creative, natural human that you're meant to be, and help us build this civilization from the foundation up to create a heaven on this earth for us all to enjoy and share and live in together. So having said that as our mission, we're going to do it in tiny little baby steps, processing one thing at a time. And a lot of what we're doing here is clearing the clutter from the past, right? We're clearing cultural conditioning. We're clearing trauma, abuse, bad memories, poor choices. We're detoxing ourselves from a sick and insane culture in general, and from the toxicity of the systems that we were raised in, so that we can hold this sacred space and help nature do its thing through us. All right, I'm going to say hi to a few people in the chat. If this is your first time, let us know. Hi, Ursula, with your friend Laura in Idaho. Hi, Tara. Deeply grateful for this topic today. She says, sending my love from Chicago. Dana B. in Sunnyvale. Glad to be back from several weeks. Joel says, great to be here from British Columbia, Canada. Brian in San Diego. Gregory in Eureka. Haley in Denver. Kat in Los Angeles. Jackie O, I see you. Tracy, hello, in British Columbia, Canada. Anna in Toronto. A lot of Canadians in the house today. We love our Canadians, and bless you guys. You're going through it up there, I know. Marianne, hi, in Austin. Cecile in Oklahoma. Vicky in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Lots of people. Robert D. in Berkeley. Barbara, such a needed tap tonight. Pretty overwhelmed in my life right now. Thank you, from Bluff City. Joyce says, pressure is a crucial topic today for me. Pressure cooker. Sally Lynn in Mauritius. Luna, hi, it's your first time. We'll keep an eye on you. Brian says, it's my first time too. Welcome to Circle, Brian. Jenny in Brownsville, Texas. Say, I missed you. I missed you too, Jenny. Paul H. in Tyler, Texas. Melinda in Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. Choki in New York. Brian, saying hi again. Alexa, happy to see you. Shoto in Minnesota. Kimberly, your topics are always exactly what I need. So beautifully expressed. Thank you. Well, thank you, Kimberly. You know, I meditate before this circle and listen to the needs of the people coming, and that's why they seem fresh, because they actually are fresh. I'm listening, I'm following simple instructions, and we're doing this together. So tuning into what is pressing down on you right now, remembering you don't need to try to clear your entire life story of pressure, but if there's something that's feeling really intense for you right now, focus on that, knowing that you can come back to this tap and use it 2 or 3 more times in a week and really get some traction. You do not have to wait for the live broadcast. Although it's really nice to see your names in the chat, the actual experience of tapping is going to be exactly the same, whether it's live or it's a replay video. All right, so tuning in, my dears, to where you would like to release the pressure from yourself, and we will go straight into the core causes questions, a 5-minute survey. Those answers are only for you, really. So you're going to be either looking at the screen share, or you're going to be in the video library where you can see a copy of the core causes questions, or you're going to click the button to do it live with us. 5 minutes to ask yourself some really deep questions so that we can get underneath this issue and release it from the bottom up. Here we go. All right, hopefully that was really helpful. Now we're going to start tapping into the matrix, the tapping portal we go. Finding your collarbones, dropping down to the front of the chest, pressing around for that sore spot. And just a note for those who are new to tapping, your body is going to be off-gassing stored stress from the nervous system, coming out yawning, laughing, burping, crying. Make sure you keep breathing and letting your body move and wiggle and jiggle the way it needs to. If you start to feel sleepy, I want you to get up and listen to the video instead of watching it, so that you can get what you came here for instead of falling asleep. Because sometimes the nervous system will shut down to try to protect you from changing as quickly as tapping allows you to. So massaging the sore spots in the front of the chest. Big deep breath. Tuning in to what it is you're feeling so much pressure about. Big deep breath. Repeating after me, remembering to fill in the blanks and edit what I'm saying to more perfectly fit your own situation. Even though part of me is feeling very pressured right now. Big deep breath. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the eyebrows. This pressure. Tapping the temples, tuning into this pressure. Noticing where you feel it in your body. Big deep breath. Tapping the front of the cheeks. Part of me feels all this pressure. Tapping under your nose and breathing. Tapping under the lips. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the front of the chest. Even with this feeling of pressure about, and then say your topic. And breathe. Tapping down the front of the rib cage, bottom of the ribs. This pressure too, and then say it again. And breathe. Tapping the side of the rib cage. Even though part of me goes numb when I feel all of this pressure, or maybe you don't go numb, maybe you don't just kind of check out, maybe you get frantic. Part of me feels, and then say how you feel. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the side of the thumb. This part of me that feels so much pressure about. Tapping their index finger and breathe. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tap the middle finger. Even though I feel this intense pressure to, and then say what it's about. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. I accept this part of me that's feeling really stressed right now. Big deep breath, and just accepting for now this intense pressure that you feel deep in your body. Big deep breath. And just accepting the sensation of pressure for a few moments. Tapping the little finger and breathing. Part of me doesn't even want to acknowledge this pressure. Tap the side of the hand. Part of me is afraid that if I notice how intense it is, I will, what? You think maybe you'll freak out, you'll get angry, you'll shut down. Tapping the top of the head. This pressure. Tapping the side of the head and the back of the head. And breathing. Tap the eyebrows. It's okay for me to acknowledge this pressure. Tapping the temples. How do you feel about this pressure? Tap the cheeks. I feel anxious, overwhelmed, furious, tired. Tapping under the nose. Let's say it again. I feel tapping under the lips. Part of me really feels, and then say again how you feel about this pressure. And breathe. Tapping the chest. It's okay for me to acknowledge this now. Tapping the bottom of the front of the ribs. I accept the part of me that feels, and then say again how you feel about this pressure. Tapping the side of the ribs. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, even though it's hard to face this pressure and these feelings. And breathe. Tapping the inside of the wrist. So let's tune in for a second. Who's putting this pressure on you? Is it yourself? Is it a partner, a child, a job, a government, the world? Tapping the side of the thumb. I blame, and then say who you find responsible for putting this pressure on you. Tapping the index finger and breathe. Tapping the middle finger, this pressure. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. That's coming from where? Big deep breath. Tap the little finger. It feels like this, and then you can say this self or this world or this government or whatever, has all the power. Tap the side of the hand. It feels like this has the power. Tapping the top of the head. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tap the sides of the head and the back of the head. Even though part of me thinks that this has all the power and that I don't have any say. Tap the eyebrows. Tapping the temples. I'm so used to feeling like I'm under pressure. Tapping the cheeks. So used to feeling this way. Big deep breath. Tapping under the nose. I'm open to deeply and completely loving myself. Tapping under the lips. Even though I'm used to this kind of pressure, or maybe it's like I'm not used to this kind of pressure. Tapping the chest and breathing. So tapping down to the front of the ribs, let's tune into your relationship with pressure when someone or something or some group is pressuring you. How do you respond? Do you nod and say yes and then secretly go your own way? Or do you feel like you have to do it and you just get angry inside? Or do you flip out and say no way and push and yell and scream? Tapping the inside of the wrist. It's safe for me to heal my relationship to pressure. Tap the side of the thumb. So tuning in again to your relationship with pressure. Some of us collapse and some of us push back. And really what we want is to be able to stay neutral, to look at the source, to make a choice, to move according to what feels right and true, and not to collapse or go into an automatic fight. Tap the index finger. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tap the middle finger. And healing my relationship to pressure, especially in the form of, and then say your topic. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. Big deep breath. And breathe. Tap the little finger. I allow myself to take a step back and see what's happening. Tap the side of the hand. So I want you to take 1 whole minute and describe what you think is happening here. Keep talking and tapping the top of the head. Sides of the head and the back of the head. Keep talking. What's going on? Tapping the eyebrows. Big deep breath. Tapping the temples. I allow myself to release the stress this is causing in my body. Tap the cheeks. The frustration it's causing with my mind. Tapping under the nose. Big deep breath. Tapping under the lips. I give myself permission to move myself forward. Tapping the front of the chest. Even though I've been responding to this pressure by doing what? Tap the front of the ribs. Big deep breath. Tapping the side of the ribs. Even though there's a part of me that tends to, and then describe your survival strategy here. Do you just close your eyes and space out and get distracted? Or do you dig your heels in and say, I'm not going to listen to any of this? Tapping the inside of the wrist. I give myself the possibility of relaxing, feeling strong and connected to myself. Tap the side of the thumb. Tapping the index finger, I give myself permission to stay conscious and aware. Tap the middle finger, to stay informed and connected to my truth. Big deep breath. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. I'm open to loving and trusting myself. Tap the little finger. To navigate through the intensity of this. Big deep breath. Tapping the side of the hand and just tuning in to the intensity of all this pressure and the sources that you feel it coming from. Let's make a list of where you feel this pressure is coming from. I feel it coming from where? Where else? And where else? Tapping the top of the head. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the sides of the head and the back of the head. Allowing myself to flow naturally. Tap the eyebrows. To tune into my heart, my mind, and my spirit at the same time. So that I can navigate. Tapping the front of the cheeks in a timely way. So pressure has something to do with needing to get something done, right? And having it done at a certain pace or at a certain time for a certain reason. Tapping the chest. I allow myself to pace myself as I choose, as I learn, holding on to my power, tap the front of the ribs, big deep breath. Tapping the side of the ribs, even if I'm afraid of what? What are you afraid of in this situation? Tap the inside of the wrist. So let's look at that. So there's usually a this versus that when it comes to pressure. If I do, then this will happen. If I don't, then that will happen. So what is the thing that you're afraid will happen if you don't? Tap your thumb and describe the things that you're afraid of if you don't follow through with this pressure. Keep talking and tapping your index finger. What else are you afraid of here? Are you afraid you'll be judged, or are you afraid you're going to get in trouble? Lose your job, lose a relationship. Tapping the middle finger. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. Even with this pressure. Tapping the little finger and breathing. Tapping the side of the hand now. What is it that you think you might get from following through under this pressure and getting it done? Part of me thinks I will what? I will get what? And what else? And what else are you really trying to get? Tapping the top of the head. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, even with this pressure I put on myself to accomplish this. Tapping the side of the head and the back of the head. Tapping the eyebrows, big deep breath. It's safe for me to calm down, tap the cheeks, to get my energy back, tapping under the nose, and to sort things out at my own pace, tapping under the lips, so that I can feel into what's right for me, tap the chest, and think clearly. Tapping down to the front of the ribs. I give myself permission to slow down, pace myself, tap the side of the ribs, and think clearly. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tap the side of the thumb. Even though there's a part of me that's used to, and then say again what you've been doing about this pressure. Spacing out, running away, fighting back, hiding, getting distracted, getting angry. Tapping the index finger. I allow myself the possibility of handling this gracefully and swiftly. Tapping the middle finger. Moving in the way that I need to move. That's connected with me and my purpose. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. Releasing my fear of criticism or judgment. Tapping the little finger. So tune in and see if criticism or judgment is a part of what you're afraid of here. So just tapping the chest for a second, just dropping down into that. Are you afraid of what other people will say or think if you mess up, or if you don't get this done, or if you do this thing? tapping down to the front of the ribs. Even if I'm afraid of what people will think or say or do, tap the side of the ribs. I love and respect myself. So let's unpack that for a second, tapping the inside of the wrist. What are you afraid of in terms of how other people will see you or respond to you? Just blurt it all out. Take 30 seconds. I'm afraid they will do what? Keep talking and tapping the side of your thumb and breathing. Tapping the index finger. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, even if that's exactly what happens. So let's pre-process the stress of being judged, of being broken up with, of being fired, of being mocked or ridiculed. Tapping the middle finger. This fear of, and then say what it is that you're afraid other people will say or do. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. I love and respect myself. So just tapping the chest and listening for a second. So when we are facing criticism or judgment or threats from other people, it's only scary if we believe that what they're saying might secretly be true, or that we can actually be harmed by their criticism, by their judgment, by their opinion. But if I trust life and I trust myself, and I deep down know that I'm making the right choice, people can say whatever they want, and deep, deep down, there is a comfort and a peace and a strength that comes from knowing what's right for me, knowing what's good for my body, knowing what's good for my life, my lifestyle. Now, when you deviate from that truth and you buckle and you move along with other people or another person or an outside force, there's no amount of praise or awards or pats on the back or bonuses or fitting in that makes up for this hollow feeling of being of having crossed your own boundary and being out of integrity with yourself. So what we want to do is let the chips fall where they may, align ourselves around what is right and true and good for us, and let the world adjust around that, even if that changes the dynamic in your life substantially. Because what you then have is a sense of self-respect and self-esteem. Self-esteem means I esteem myself. I value and look at myself in a loving way. I look up to myself, right? When you esteem someone, you're looking up to them. So self-esteem is like I look up to myself, meaning I respect myself. I value that I have integrity with my sense of what's right and good and fair and true. All right, so coming back down to the front of the ribs. I allow myself to release the fear of being called what or seen as what. Tapping the side of the ribs. Even if I spent my whole life trying to please others and win their opinion of me and make other people proud or happy or feel safe, tap the inside of the wrist. I'm allowing myself to release this fear of judgment and criticism. Tap the side of the thumb. Especially being judged or criticized by who? Who are you most worried is going to be unhappy if you make your own choice here and move at your own pace and do what you know is good for you. Tap the index finger. It's safe for me to process the fear of upsetting or disappointing anybody in my life. Tap the middle finger. Part of me knows that what's really good for me is actually good for the collective. So this goes back to what we talked about at the beginning, that happy, healthy people create a happy, healthy world. So if it's actually good for me, it's probably going to be good for the people around me, including my society. Tap the little finger. I'm open to loving and trusting myself. Tap the side of the hand. Even though I was programmed to respond to pressure my entire life, by who and by what? By school, by religion, by men, by women, by my family, by my government. Tapping the top of the head. I'm open to loving and trusting myself. Tapping the sides of the head and the back of the head. Tapping the eyebrows. I give myself permission. Tapping the temples. To stay true to myself. Tap the cheeks. To relax inside. Tapping into the nose. Tapping into the lips. I give myself permission to feel free. Tapping the chest. I give myself permission to relax. So tuning into that pressure and check and see where it is now. Is this tap helping? Tap the front of the ribs. What's still there that we haven't touched on yet? Say it now while you tap the front of the ribs. This remaining pressure I feel. And then say the aspect that maybe we haven't covered or we covered lightly, but really needs more time and attention. This remaining aspect about what? Tapping the side of the ribs. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the inside of the wrist. Let's trade hands. And let's say that same thing we just said again. This remaining aspect. And then say what's true for you. Tapping the side of the thumb. I give myself permission to notice what's happening here. Tapping the index finger. So check and see if it has something to do with fear. And if it's not fear, maybe it's a different feeling. Maybe it's exhaustion, maybe it's grief, maybe it's anger. Tap the middle finger. I allow myself to process this remaining part and then say what it is for you. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. I give my body permission to release this now, so that I feel free to choose and free to move freely. Tap the little finger and breathe. Tapping the side of the hand. I'm allowing myself to recover my sovereignty and my energy. What does sovereignty mean? To me, it means that I am the queen of my own life and the queen of my own body, that I have choice, and that I move the way I want to move, where I want to move, and how I want to move. And that I'm not going to be bullied by anyone else or my own fears. Tapping the top of the head. I allow myself my own sovereignty. Tapping the side of the head and the back of the head, because this keeps peace inside of me. Tap the eyebrows. Tapping the temples. I allow myself to feel supported. Tapping the cheeks, connected. Tapping under the nose. Feeling good about my choices. Tapping under the lips. And allowing others to make theirs. Big deep breath. I love and respect myself. Tapping the front of the ribs. I'm allowing myself to pace myself. Tap the side of the ribs. To feel spacious, even if there's not a lot of time. So let's listen for a minute and tap the wrist and think about that. We think of time as something that's like click, 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 and I have to make these moves. But the truth is you can expand a moment, and you've all had this experience where looking into a baby's eyes or watching the sunset, or laying in the sunshine and feeling it's only been like 2 minutes, but it feels like it's been hours of just soaking in that moment because you've expanded that moment. So even if you are working on a short timeline, you can expand that moment by relaxing inside so that your mind clears, your body relaxes, and you have good discernment and good judgment and the ability to move in a way that feels in alignment with your soul. Tapping the index finger and breathing. Tap the middle finger. This part of me that's learning to unpack the moment. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger and to stay in alignment with my soul. Tapping the little finger and breathing. I give myself permission to take my time. Tap the side of the hand. To expand time so that I can make a good choice, so that I know the next step. Tap the top of the head. I'm releasing the need to rush or to lose my center in this process. Tapping the eyebrows. I give myself permission to hold true to my values. Tapping the temples so that I feel good about myself. Tapping the cheeks. Tapping into the nose. Big deep breath. I love and respect myself. Tapping under the lips. I allow myself to move and flow with the situation. Tapping the chest. To remember who I am. Tapping down to the front of the ribs. I love and respect myself. Tapping the side of the ribs. I allow myself to dance with the situation, remembering who and what I am. So this is where you get to make up a loving affirmation or two. Who do you want yourself to remember that you are? What do you want yourself to remember that you are? And speak it out loud. I am what? Tap the side of the thumb. I give myself permission to feel centered in myself, relaxed and calm. Tap the index finger. Even if this pressure continues, I do not have to feel burdened or anything other than free. Tap the middle finger. I allow myself to relax and to lighten up. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. Creating spaciousness so that I can breathe and think clearly. Tap the little finger and breathe. Tap the side of the hand. I give myself permission to release any remaining fear or pressure about this situation that I feel from inside myself, that is motivated by fear or mistrust. Tapping the top of the head. I'm allowing myself to tune in. Tap the eyebrows. To trust the energy of peace inside me to guide me correctly. Tapping the cheeks and breathing. So here's another thing I want you to remember. So just tapping the chest and listening again. Whenever you're feeling rushed or pushed or pressured, it's good just to stop, give yourself the possibility of tuning into your motivation and say, what is it that's actually motivating me? If it's fear on any level, you can usually be advised that the outcome won't work as well. So when I'm motivated by fear, the outcome usually isn't very good. When I'm motivated by love, not by guilt, but by a deep feeling of warmth inside me, even if I'm scared of that choice, the outcome usually will be awesome. So tapping the front of the ribs, I give myself permission to check my motivations. Tapping the side of the ribs, to only move in a way that feels grounded and loving to myself. Tapping the inside of the wrist, allowing myself to know that that keeps me in the flow of miracles and magic. Tap the side of the thumb. Staying connected to this light of love inside me. Tapping the index finger allows me to feel whole, peaceful, and guided. Tap the middle finger. Big deep breath. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. I'm allowing this to be easier than I thought. Tap the little finger, and more fun than I imagined. Tapping the chest. I'm allowing myself to dance through this and be surprised and delighted. Can you imagine this situation that was feeling so tough to actually end up being delightful and surprising in a good way? Tap the top of the head. Let's imagine that instead of feeling pressured, you feel curious, you feel inspired, you feel creative, you feel delighted about how things are working out. Tapping the cheeks. This is the energy that I'm creating now. Surprise and delight. Tapping under the nose. Strength and inspiration. Tapping under the lips. Allowing myself to flow beautifully through this time of transition. Tapping the chest and breathing. I'm allowing myself to flow beautifully. Tap the front of the ribs. Holding on to my sovereignty. Tap the side of the ribs and taking leadership here. So when you feel that you have freedom and that you have choice and that you're moving at your own will, then you're actually being a leader in your own life. Tap the inside of the wrist. I give myself permission to be a leader in my own life. Tap the side of the thumb, leading myself and those connected to me to stay calm, connected to their truth. Tap the index finger, unshakable, big deep breath. Tap the middle finger. What does it feel like to be unshakable? Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. I allow myself to enjoy this new sense of power and peace. Tap the little finger. I allow myself to enjoy this new feeling of power and peace. Tapping the side of the hand and breathing. Tapping the top of the head. I'm allowing this to be natural and normal for me in this situation and in other situations. Tapping the eyebrows. Releasing any remaining fear or panic in this situation, and say your topic again. And tapping the front of the cheeks. Noticing how your body feels now. Tapping under the nose. Now I want you to create some statements for yourself about this situation and speak them out loud. Beautiful, clear, clean affirmations of what you're creating for yourself here. Tapping the front of the chest. Keep talking. Front of the ribs. Big deep breaths. Side of the ribs. I love and respect myself. I am remembering who I am and where I'm going. Tapping the inside of the wrist. Choosing my own pace, my own space, and my own way. Tapping the side of the thumb. Allowing myself to relax. Tap the index finger. To feel consistent. To feel flexible and open as I navigate this situation. Tap the middle finger. I'm releasing any remaining force. So just tuning into where you feel force, either from inside yourself or put upon you. And tapping the bottom of the fourth finger, releasing this feeling of force. Tap the little finger. I love and respect myself. Tap the side of the hand. I'm creating this peace and balance within myself. Tapping the top of the head. So that I can move at the pace that's right for me to the place that's right for me. Tapping all over the body. Say 3 positive, kind, loving things to yourself, as if you were your own guardian angel or your own cheerleader. What do you need to hear right now? Say it out loud and proud. Beautiful. So I'd love to know how you're feeling. Put it in the chat. Let me know what the pressure was rated at, where you think it is now, and how you're feeling from doing this hour of work on yourself. Let's see here. Edward says, connected. Vicky says, thought my pressure was coming from a specific source, found out it was something totally different. Started at a 7, went 10, 7, 10, 8, 5. Peeling layers back like an onion. Will be interesting to get all the way to the core. Being patient. Thank you always for your timing of the tap topics. Brooke says, thank you. Josephine says, pressure was a 10. That's got to be tough. And now is a 5. Amazing. Brooke says, amazing guidance. Christina says, a 10 down to a 6. Good for you, Christina. Tapping on fear in my body of going up and down stairs. Moved a little, but needs more time. Robert says, hi, pressure feels great. Thanks. Alex says, so much lighter. Melinda says, whew, went from a 10 down to a 2, feeling so much better. Thank you. Danny says, love from Riverside, California. Thank you so much. Linda C. says, awesome work. My gratitude to you. Maura says, feeling inspired and grateful. And then about 20 emojis. Haley says, amazingly light now. I started at a 3, been doing some work on this area already, and now feeling a 0. Wonderful, Haley. Jessica says, I was so amazed by your statement. Let the world adjust to you, not the other way around. I felt really inspired by the idea that I am not meant for everyone and need to trust my timing. Feeling loose and refreshed. Great. Tara says, I probably started at an 11 today, having extreme emotional reactions even during the core causes. I'm hesitantly accepting my new level of 3, though I know my own coping mechanisms have been to numb and check out. Well, sometimes if you're used to being numb, peace kind of feels like being numb. But you'll find that numb makes you unable to be present, and peace makes you extremely relaxed and present. Shoda says, I decided to work on money issues. For the first time, I started at an 8. Now I feel at a 3. Feel some movement and some understanding. Thank you. I'll read a couple more, and then I've got a song for you. Annie says, so perfect. Thank you. Tracy says, went from a 9 to a 6 or a 7. It's been a recurring topic. Many insights tonight. Thank you, Sonya. Maura says, I'm down to a 2. Wonderful insight. Cecile, an 8 to a 5. Paul says, I started at a 10 and ended at a 4. Marcy says, vibrating in strong, powerful queen bee energy. Went from a 9 to a 7 to a 2. Feeling so ready to create. Awesome work, everybody. Good job. That's what you can do in a very short little 60-minute window. And truthfully, about 15 minutes of that is me talking. So really about 45 minutes of focused tapping time can shift your world. So what do you think happens when you do this continuously and you make this a part of your self-care? Well, you know what happens if you're here in the circle. You continue to rise and shine as you hold that space for love to grow inside you and your mind. So you guys know that I'm interested in building this circle, and I know that you know somebody who needs to try this. And if you would like to send them a free month of tapping, I tried to give you the QR code last week. I heard it was a little blurry, that it was hard to take a picture of. So we actually have it in link form right now. And for those watching on replay, write this down. transform.worldtappingcircle.com. And we're going to pop the link there in the chat for you. Copy that link. Send it out to your friends who are suffering, who are feeling pressured, who are feeling stressed, sad, terrified, overwhelmed, upset, going through it. Everyone you know needs this link. So take a moment and text that link to some friends and say, hey, do this video with me. Let's start a little support thread where it's like, hey, we're all tapping. Have them sign up for the free month. Yes, it will ask for their credit card. Yes, we will cancel if they decide they don't want to keep doing it. It's only a $19 risk if after a month they decide they don't want to do it and they get charged. And if they want a refund, we'll refund them. But the truth is, we know that this stuff works, and there are people in your life that you could be supporting at the next level if you decide to take leadership in your life and expand that circle of love. So I'm challenging you, and I'll even say right now, The person in the next week who gets the most people to subscribe for the free month, I will give you a personal, private, hour-and-a-half, one-on-one private session. No, I didn't check with my team. I just decided that's what I want to do. So, I challenge you to enlist your loved ones to help themselves by sending them this link, transform.worldtappingcircle.com. And we're popping that link into the chat. You can see it there at the top of the page. And as I sign off, I would like to leave you with this beautiful song by Pia called Blessed We Are. Thank you as usual for being a part of the Tapping Circle. I love you, and I'll see you in the circle.